Hi, I'm Bob Buckhorn, and welcome to the Mayor's Hour. This is my first Mayor's Hour as your new mayor, and I can't tell you how excited I am. This is going to be a great show. This may top all the rest of my shows for the next 4 years, but I am excited to be here and to be with you and to be with my friend, somebody who's been a part of the Mayor's Hours for, this is the third administration with Mayor Richoux, Mayor Iorio, and now my administration. And my friend Jack Harris, who is an icon in this community, has agreed willingly or unwillingly, to be the host once again of the Mayor's Hour. And Jack, I can't tell you how thankful I am and how much I've treasured your friendship over the years, and now we're teammates again.
Yes, indeed. We go way back to
well, none of us had gray hair.
Public service. That's true. Unbelievably. This has turned into an old folks show here, I think, almost, or at least on my side of it. Now, that's great, and congratulations on a hard-fought campaign and a great job on a campaign. And you know, we were talking about this moving into the mayor's position, and this really is, it is a very glamorous thing, but you pick a lousy time to become mayor when the city's in economic trouble.
My timing could have been a little better. You and I were laughing. I liken it to the dog who caught the car. You know, we've got some challenges. It's a difficult time for our city as well as every other city in the country, but it's okay. I mean, Tampa's a great place. We're going to recover. We're going to get out of this short-term ditch that we're in, and we're going to get back on track to the days when everyone in America talked about us as a great city.
Yep, I remember going back to the old days, America's next great city, and I think we have certainly, you know, moved beyond that to the next level, whatever that might be. And of course, we're doing the show today at a place that's helped us maintain that position, and people seem to forget it, that MacDill Air Force Base is such a huge part of our community and our economy and everything.
Well, Jack, you remember when we almost lost MacDill Air Force Base.
Yes, indeed. You remember it better than I, because you were part of the effort to make sure that it stayed here, a big part of it, because that was when you were with the Friedman administration.
I was, and you were exactly right. I think this community sort of lost sight of the value of MacDill Air Force Base, the importance of it. Obviously, with the war on terrorism and the situation in Iraq and Afghanistan, our military partners have played a much larger role. MacDill is ground zero for the operations over there. Not only the tankers that we will talk about today and the men and women that serve here, but also you look at Central Command and Special Operations Command that are headquartered here. MacDill Air Force Base has a huge economic impact on our community.
I like to liken it to anywhere from 15 to 20 Super Bowls every year. And that doesn't include all of the construction and things that go here. The jobs continue here. And it really isn't a victim of the economy, as the rest of the city, as the rest of the state, as the rest of the country is right now. And the construction continues, the jobs, the people that they employ here. And one thing that's kind of overlooked is the people from here that retire here, that turn into some outstanding citizens and continue giving back to the community.
They do, and we're going to learn a lot about that, Jack, over the next hour or so. So let's take a break right now, and we'll be right back with some footage of what goes on out here at MacDill Air Force Base. Welcome back to the Mayor's Hour, and we are here at MacDill Air Force Base in Hangar 2. As you can see behind me is one of the tankers that they fly with the 6th Air Mobility Wing. And our guest today is the mayor of MacDill Air Force Base.
That's a good way to put it, the mayor of MacDill.
Yep, he is. And the lucky thing is he doesn't have to run. He's got it easy.
That's right. Well, I've been running for a long time. I just haven't been running for public office. So.
Well, this is Colonel Lenny Richoux. He is the wing commander out here at MacDill Air Force Base, the 6th Air Mobility Wing. He's been a great corporate partner since he got here, he and his wife, over the last year. We're excited to have him on the Mayor's Hour, but more importantly, we're excited to have him in the Tampa Bay community. Colonel, tell us a little bit about the base. Tell us what you do here, what these planes are all about.
You bet. You know, the 6th Air Mobility Wing, its mission is to operate 16 KC-135 Stratotanker aircraft like the one that's being repaired behind us right now, built in the 50s and 60s, along with 3 Gulfstream 3 jet transport aircraft that we carry the 4-star generals around. But to do all that, it takes a huge support network of about 2,800 people. to make that happen. It's not like we just show up and fly the airplane every day. We've got to be able to turn the lights on. We've got to be able to feed everyone. We've got to be able to house everyone. We've got to be able to fix the airplanes. We've got to be able to take care of their health care. We've got to be able to get them on and off the base safely every day. And on top of that mission, aside from being kind of the president of an airline that's involved in combat operations, I'm also the mayor of this city. That's 5,700 acres, formerly known as Rattlesnake Point, celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. MacDill Air Force Base is the home of about 39 different organizations. Aside from the 6th Air Mobility Wing, we've also got the Headquarters United States Central Command, about 5,600 people. Headquarters United States Special Operations Command, about 2,500 people. Headquarters Joint Communications Support Element, about 1,250 people. NOAA's aircraft operation with hurricane season just starting up is right here at MacDill Air Force Base, their entire operation. And so it's my job to make sure that they can come to work every day and do that mission safely and securely. And oh, by the way, get 11,000 cars on and off the base or on the base every morning. And oh, by the way, a very interested community, City of Tampa, that supports us very well. And quite frankly, that has been the funnest part of this job, is engaging with your people, Mr. Mayor.
You know, you talk about being the mayor of a city with all of those units and such important units in the overall global scheme of things with CENTCOM and SOCOM and everything. I'm guessing you probably have more high brass in this place than any other base around.
Hey, you know, it's unlike a lot of installations where the wing commander and the installation commander is, you know, stamped. It's your way or the highway, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I've got about 30 or 40 people that outrank me on this base. So a collaborative leadership style works best on MacDill Air Force Base. But I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure working with all the partner units. They've been very supportive, easy to work with. You know, we maintain a customer service oriented approach to how we conduct aerial warfare, if you will, and that seems to save the day every day, making it happen for our partner units.
Well, Lenny, tell us about the aircraft behind me. Tell me exactly it is for the folks that are watching this show that don't know what these aircraft are.
Yeah,
what do you do here? What is this aircraft?
This airplane is the KC-135R Stratotanker, built by the Boeing Corporation, designed in the 50s, designed alongside the B-52 Stratofortress, a bomber. Both airplanes are still in service today. MacDill has 16 of the 400 and some odd that the United States Air Force has in its inventory. This airplane behind us takes off from MacDill Air Force Base, flies at about 25,000 feet, and we schedule air refueling missions at a central location in O'Fallon, Illinois, known as Scott Air Force Base, the Tanker Airlift Control Center. They are in charge of knowing who needs air refueling all over the world, and they schedule us to conduct these missions. So we take off and we rendezvous with another aircraft that's flying at the exact same speed that we are, and we join up with them, and they literally park right behind us at about 450 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And we sit real still, and there's a device at the back of the aircraft called an air refueling boom. And a young man or woman, a young airman, is sits in the back of the aircraft and operates that boom, and they extend it and literally put it into the other aircraft, into another device that receives the boom, and we latch the two airplanes together, and then we pump high-grade military jet petroleum into the other aircraft at a rate of about 6,700 pounds per minute, or about almost 9,000 gallons per minute. So in about 10 minutes, we can fill up a big airplane like a C-5, and what that does is it gives the United States Air Force, the United States military, the United States government the ability to project power and project humanitarian aid and project resources whenever and wherever we need to protect our sovereign interests.
And you're doing this even in battle zones, in war zones, if I can call it that, Iraq, Afghanistan,
literally,
places like that.
This aircraft, as a matter of fact, 11 of our airplanes right now today are in the war zone. And our air crew and our support personnel are in harm's way doing our nation's bidding right now in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in and around Libya, and in other parts of the world right now, doing this air refueling mission, extending the range of fighter aircraft, of bomber aircraft, reconnaissance aircraft, cargo aircraft to deliver, in some cases, bombs. In some cases, it's another tanker that we're extending its range. In some cases, it's a reconnaissance aircraft. In some cases, it's water, food, or soccer balls as humanitarian aid. As we, when we had the earthquake in Haiti,
Yeah.
It was airplanes like this that were refueling cargo aircraft to deliver human daily rations and humanitarian aid to the people of Haiti after that disaster. And most recently in Japan, these airplanes were extending the range of humanitarian disaster relief aircraft to bring food, water, shelter, blankets, power systems, all-terrain vehicles to the people of Japan after the tsunami hit. So the airplane you see behind us right now, again, built in the 50s and 60s, we have to maintain that aircraft right here at MacDill Air Force Base. So we make the parts and we keep them flying all the time because a lot of the vendors of the KC-135 are no longer around.
Yeah.
And recently, you probably know that the Boeing Corporation was selected to produce the next
New
generation
ones.
of tank,
Yeah, the
KC-46.
K-46A
Yes,
or
sir.
whatever it is. Are we going to be getting those as replacements for these?
You know, I sure hope so. I think they're still deciding that. Congress and the senior leadership of the Department of Defense are kind of figuring out where those 100 airplanes are going to go in the next 5 years. But, you know, it's probably a good bet that since MacDill has an air refueling mission, that this is one of the candidates to receive the KC-46. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, it would be sweet. Might help get a little political pull maybe from the mayor, you know, to call somebody up there. Make sure, Congressman Gus or whoever, that
Trust me,
you
Jack.
got us on the list. You've already done that.
We're working on that one, especially with the presidential election coming up. We're going to be important to somebody.
Oh, yes, undoubtedly. In case you don't know, Mayor was a very important cog back in the 90s when we almost lost MacDill Air Force Base, and we lost our fighter wing back then, but he spent a lot of time working with people around here to make sure it stayed open. And it's the greatest, because we were talking about at the beginning of the show, it's such a tremendous asset for the Tampa Bay area. And again, I like it to 15 to 20 Super Bowls every year from an economic impact standpoint. The employment, thousands and thousands of people employed out here, the construction and all these other things. But one of the great things that we talked about too is the retirees that it brings us.
You bet.
The quality people, you know, people like your predecessors who've retired and become part of the community and have worked hard in the community.
You bet. There's a tremendous, you know, the base itself, during the day we've got around, I don't know, 18, 19,000 people that are working on the base, and about, as I mentioned, about 11,000 cars that come onto the base every day. So not all those people can live on MacDill Air Force Base.
Yeah.
You know, only, we have about 572 houses, which families live on the base, and about 450 unaccompanied residence halls for our single soldier, sailors, airmen, and Marines to live during the day. So that's about 2,500 people. About 80% or so of the people that work on this base live outside the gates.
Yeah.
All over the greater Tampa area, in South Tampa, in Brandon, in Valrico, in St. Pete, in Clearwater. And so those communities, our people are in and amongst the people of Tampa. They're part of your churches. They play sports at your Y's. They play Little League. They go to, you know, they go to the great public schools that are provided for the people of Tampa. My own two children go to Hillsborough County Public Schools, go to Tinker Elementary and Coleman Middle School. We absolutely love it. Amongst the best of the 14 places that we've lived. The schools are just great here. Can't thank the people of Tampa enough for the support that you give the military, because you make it possible for us to deploy and go off and do our nation's bidding while our families are taken care of. But in exchange, we just did an economic impact study. And we found that the economic impact of MacDill Air Force Base in the greater Tampa area, which includes Hillsborough County, an area about 50 miles around the base, it's about $5 billion in direct and indirect economic impact. And you add to that the people that live up north in colder climates that come down between Halloween and Easter and physically take up residence here in Tampa. About 500 of them physically live on MacDill Air Force Base in our family camp. They drive their RVs down here and they live. They're great volunteers. They become part of your community, and they contribute to that economic growth of Tampa Bay as well. So it's a two-way relationship. We like to say in the military, we're only going to live here for 2 to 4 years unless we retire in a place. I encourage my airmen and everyone in MacDill to leave Tampa better than you found it, because we're basically renting this base from the people of Tampa. It's your land. We want to make it better than we found it.
Colonel, talk to me, because that's an important part. And every time I come out here, I'm amazed at the enthusiasm of the young airmen, the Marines and the sailors and the coasties, and the responsibility that they get at a young age. You have 17, 18, 19-year-old kids doing amazing things. And I know the success of this base and your mission is largely determined not by the colonels, but by the young airmen.
That's absolutely right.
Talk to me about what you do to inspire them, what you do to make them excited to
Yeah.
come to work every day?
It's you know, I definitely do not take the credit for the success of this base. I'm one of thousands that you know, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for everything that happens on the base, but they're the ones that are making it happen. And you know, just to let you know the quality of the people that are coming in the United States Air Force right now, there is a 1-year waiting list to enlist in the United States Air Force. Many of them have their college degrees already. There is a tremendous desire to serve your country right now that is inspiring. A couple of months ago, I took 25 Tampa Bay civic leaders out to San Antonio to watch an Air Force basic military training graduation ceremony. There was not a dry eye in the audience. Watching those 650 great young Americans come into the United States Air Force, raise their right hand, swear to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and then watch their parents go out there and give them a big hug and just be as proud as can be. Their buttons were bursting. That's the kind of Americans that we've got serving on MacDill Air Force Base that are part of your community. And every day they give 125% for their country. They're doing things like this airplane behind you. I'm not out there taking that airplane apart. It's young men and women who have been trained by the Department of Defense, by the United States Air Force, to do very technical jobs that oftentimes are quite dangerous. It's not exactly a walk in the park to take apart a big subsonic jet transport aircraft and put it back together.
Thus
in
the
10
red
days.
line around here, you're not supposed to step inside.
That's exactly right.
Bozos like myself that might be in there. Let me ask you about you personally. Where are you from? Your wife Michelle and kids and everything. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana.
In New Orleans.
In a little
He's
suburb.
a Saint fan, Jack.
I'm a
He's a
Bucks
Saint
fan
fan.
too. Now, don't pin me all the way to this. I do love my Saints. I cannot deny that. I do love my Saints. I watched them win the Super Bowl from Okinawa, Japan. But I do love my Bucks as well, and my Rays, and my Lightning. All great parts of the Tampa Bay fabric. But I grew up in New Orleans, and my wife was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. We went to Georgia Tech. I graduated in '89. She graduated in '91. And this is our 14th assignment in the Air Force. Been stationed in the Pentagon 4 times, been Charleston, South Carolina a couple times, California, Maine, Washington State, Mississippi, Alabama. And we have 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, a girl age 13, a girl age 9, and a boy age 6, and all really loving Tampa Bay. And they've already wised up to the fact that one day we're going to have to move again, and they're starting to ask questions. And as far as I know, I'm sticking around here for a while, and we're really enjoying it. But yeah, this is a great location for all the reasons. You know, never mind all the great attractions in downtown Tampa Bay, all the things to do. It's the people here. We found that this is one of the most welcoming, warm, easy to get in step with communities ever. You know, I didn't have to work my way in. I showed up and got to work, and it was simple and straightforward. And I found a very supportive community that's ready to help the base all the time. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Mayor, for a great community. Thank you for continuing to welcome the men and women of MacDill Air Force Base and making it easy for us to serve our countries. Thank you for giving us a great town.
No, it's our pleasure. I mean, as you know, we love you guys, and not only are you an important economic asset to us, but we care about what you do and appreciate your service.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why we're kind of hoping these new KC-46As come here real quickly, because that gives you a lot of longevity.
You bet.
Until
They got to
wear
build
those
them
things
first,
out.
so.
Yeah, as soon as they build them, start bringing them here. But you might have to work for that.
Oh, I intend to. I intend to. What have you found the biggest challenge to be as mayor of the base?
It's time management. There's so much to do on any given day. You know, I divide my responsibilities. You know, number one responsibility is readiness, military readiness. That's our ability to do our military job, to be ready to deploy whenever the president asks us to be ready to launch these airplanes whenever we need to be able to do our military mission. So that first and foremost, everyone on this base would agree that is our mission. Next, it's continuing to build the infrastructure of the base to make it the community that it needs to be to support the families and the unaccompanied, the singles that live on the base after hours and on weekends. Lots of activities, but we're continuing to grow upon those activities and make it even more robust than it is now. And then getting outside the gates to visit with all the chambers of commerce, all the military affairs councils, the Rotary clubs, the Kiwanis, the executive councils, all those organizations that you got to go out and you got to meet with them to make sure that the people that work on this base, their families are integrating well into the community and that we're being responsible citizens. It is time management. I wish that I had another 10 hours every day so that I could talk to everybody that I needed to talk to and that I could put the right amount of time into every decision. Let's just say that many weekends I'm in that office with the lights on, burning the midnight oil,
And
just catching
people
up.
watching the Mayor's Hour right now, you're probably going to see an increase in the number of calls from Rotary clubs, Kiwanis clubs, and a
That's
few
okay.
others.
Bring it on. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. They're all. I have a great time going out and speaking and engaging with all those communities. It's great fun for me.
What do you like to do when you do have a little time off?
You bet. It's time with the kids. It's for my wife and I. It's involvement with my son's Cub Scout troop, being his den leader. My daughter's
so you're
Brownie
the
troop.
mayor of a Cub Scout
I
troop,
am. I
too.
run my son's Tiger Cub den on Tuesday nights. We got a great pack on the base, and we do brownies with our middle daughter, and our oldest daughter is in the county orchestra. And at Coleman Middle School, she plays the bass, and she's doing great. She's going to take part in Hillsborough County Scholars Program this summer. She just participated in the Duke TIP program and scored real well on her SATs, and so it's all about the kids right now. But we're also going to take some real neat vacations this summer. We're gonna get out and go visit family and get around and possibly even rent an RV because it's the Florida thing to do. And we may drive up to Niagara Falls, Canada in an RV. That's kind of what our kids asked us to do this summer. So we may take 2 weeks and do that. But when I'm not wearing the uniform, I'm a dad and a husband, and that's where I like to spend my time for now.
Well, Colonel, let me know what that vacation feels like.
Okay.
I haven't had one in about a year, so you send me a postcard
Mr.
from
Mayor,
wherever you
you're
go.
doing a great job. You're working hard for the city. We sure do appreciate it.
Well,
Really.
good. Well, Lenny, we're going to go to a break in a second, but Jack and I just wanted to tell you thank you for opening your base up to us.
You
Thank
bet.
you for sharing the talent of the men and women that we're about to hear from after you. But most importantly, thank you for your service to this country, and we appreciate it. And Godspeed, and
It's our pleasure.
whatever we can do to help. Jack and I are here, and certainly my
Betcha.
city is here for you as well.
Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Jack.
Colonel.
Have a great day.
In just a few minutes, we're going to hear from Colonel Roeper, who works for the mayor of the base, Colonel Rishu, and he runs the maintenance group here at MacDill Air Force Base. He's the guy that maintains all of these aircraft to make sure that when the pilots get up, that they're flying a safe aircraft and they get home safely. So we'll be right back.
It's a really special day on the 10th of June because today an Air Force colonel is having his last flight in the United States Air Force. Colonel Slim Morgan, the Operations Group Commander at MacDill Air Force Base, who runs all the flying operations on my base. He's having his last flight, and it's a big deal. And he's taxiing in right now, right behind us. And what we do when we have a finny flight, as we call it, a finishing flight in the Air Force, we have water cannons, and then we hose him down with champagne and water to mark his last flight in the United States Air Force. So that's happening right now.
Now he's going to get a chance to meet the mayor, which is really special.
Much fun as you did.
It was great. It was a tough one, though. It's when I taxied up and saw everyone here. It's 26 years.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
So
it's emotional for you and your family, but we appreciate everything you've done. And Jack Harris and I, this is our first Mayor's Hour together in new administration, and we couldn't pick a better way to do it than to start off like this. All the rest of them will be boring after this.
Well, thank you, sir. It's an honor that you're out here for me.
Oh, my gosh.
I appreciate it. Hope you had a good trip out here today.
Yeah, I did. And thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. It's an honor to be able to serve.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Hour, and I'm here with my friend Jack Harris, and we are at one of our favorite places, Jack, MacDill Air Force Base.
You betcha.
Talking to some of the men and women that run this space and keep these airplanes flying and train and groom the next generation of Air Force leaders. I am with a hometown guy right now. Hometown. Colonel Barry Roeper, who is the commander of the maintenance component of this base. He works for Colonel Rishu, who you just heard from earlier. And he's the guy that keeps these planes safe, keep our pilots safe, and takes care of the aircraft. And Colonel Roeper, this is a big aircraft.
Yes, it is.
I understand that for every hour of flying, there are 13 hours of maintenance that go with this. Is that an accurate?
That's pretty close. Yeah, it's a lot of work that goes into keeping it. It's kind of an older airplane, but we're always constantly modifying it, updating the avionics and the engines and that to keep it up in the air and keep it doing the mission.
Now you have a unique position heading up the people who make these things fly. Do you have the kind of background to know that kind of thing, or do they just bring you up and your next assignment in the Air Force is going to be to run these people who do know how to run these things?
I've actually been in the aircraft maintenance my whole career.
Okay.
I actually started back in 1981. I was actually enlisted, so I was actually a guy out on,
you've
on
done
the
it.
flight line,
Wow.
turning the wrenches,
Yeah.
and then finished my college and went to OTS and then became a maintenance officer. So
When
been
you
doing this
say
for about 30 years.
that's surprising, it's 13 hours of maintenance for every hour of flying. Now, is that true on new aircraft as well, or is that because this is a plane that's about 40 years old?
Actually, that's true of a lot of our new aircraft, like the F-22 and that. They are also a lot of maintenance done in that. For as old as this aircraft is, it actually does very, very well.
Yeah, that's the great thing about airplanes, I guess. You can have a 1940, 1930 or whatever and still have a very good flying machine as long as you do all of the things. But I understand that these things are so old now that it's difficult to get parts, difficult to get anything regarding the aircraft since it does go back so many years. I said 40, it's actually probably older than 40 years.
It is. Their average age is about 50 years. They were manufactured between 1956 and 1965, so they're about as old as I am. Yeah, my parts are coming out too. But yeah, it's.
We don't want to talk about his part.
No, mine are way outdated.
But that's true. When they first came out, this is basically a Boeing 707 design the aircraft, and so back then there were commercial parts in that available because they were still flying them in the industry.
Yeah.
Well, industry has long since moved on to newer aircraft, and we're still flying them. So it is very difficult sometimes to get parts because a lot of the companies that made the original parts are no longer there or no longer manufacturing those parts, and so it can be quite a challenge.
Now, you personally are from here, as the mayor was pointed out, right? Tell us about your background being from here.
That's true. I grew up in Clearwater, Florida, and our actual affiliation with the base goes prior to that. My father was a B-26 pilot in World War II.
Really?
And he was actually stationed at MacDill in 1943.
Wow, only a couple of years after MacDill opened.
So that's correct. So he was one of the first guys here, and he left here to go to World War II in Europe, and he still lives in Clearwater. He's in the house I grew up in. He's 91 years old, so
Wow.
I get to
Oh,
go and visit
boy.
him from time to time, and he's got some great stories to tell.
And you followed in his footsteps in the military. Did you design that from the time you were young, saying, I want to make a career in the military?
I've always been interested in a military career, and specifically I was interested in aircraft, so this is something I always wanted to do. Wanted to be a pilot, but my eyes and that weren't good enough. So,
It happened to me.
so
Me too.
so maintenance was a good fit for me, and I love the work. I love being around the aircraft and working with the aircraft. and it brings a lot of pride and a lot of sense of accomplishment.
It's pretty neat that you get assigned to MacDill Air Force Base, which allows you, it's just far enough from home to not be home, but still close enough to be able to maintain ties.
That's true. Well, and actually, as a kid growing up here, I spent a lot of time on both sides of the bay. So, it's kind of like being in different houses of your, different rooms of your house. You see different things, but it all feels like home. And Tampa Bay is just that way. It feels like home, and the community here is so great and so supportive that pretty much everyone who works here feels at home in here. And I think everyone here that works on the base enjoys calling Tampa home.
So when these aircraft deploy, do you deploy too?
I personally don't. Normally there's a captain or a lieutenant that deploys with the aircraft. I used to deploy a lot more when I was younger, but we're actually deployed pretty much constantly. Somebody's on the road. Right now, about half our airplanes are deployed. We're at different locations, and we also, in addition to the 500-some folks that I have in the 6 maintenance groups, we have a reserve associate unit that works side by side with us, the 927th, and they have about 46 full-time technicians, as well as about 100 traditional guardsmen that work in a civilian job in the community, and they come out 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year to work on the aircraft. They will, a lot of times, will volunteer on some of these deployments. So currently, we got 58 reservists that are deployed to Turkey, supporting operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, and then we also have about 63 of my maintainers that are out there deployed and
now,
supporting.
In an aircraft like this one here that we see that all of this work is being done, I mean, we saw the nozzle, as a layman like myself would call it, out and everything, and all of these, I don't know what you call them, the gadgets are up and everything. How long will this be in here? How long will you actually be working on this particular aircraft before it's out and ready to fly?
Well, this aircraft's going through what we call a periodic inspection. It's done every 1,800 flying hours or every 24 months, whichever comes first. And this right here will be about 8 days is what we've been taking. That's a process that used to take about 12 days, and that was 12 days of 12-hour shifts. But our airmen in that were working using lean techniques to improve the efficiency and cut out a lot of wasted steps and movements and line things up to where they move smoothly. And we've actually cut it down to 8 days and 8-hour shifts. So hats off to the young airmen that really have made that happen.
How much of a transition would it take if indeed, and we hope it happens once they build them, we get the KC, what is it, 46A, I think?
Yeah, I don't think the decision's been made yet on whether we'll get those or not.
But if they move in, what will it mean to your unit?
What that'll mean is we'll get a lot of building projects going on. They'll have to do construction out there on the ramp and building new hangars, and there'll be a lot more maintenance troops coming in.
Oh, these hangars wouldn't accompany them, huh?
No, they'll need additional hangars. So, but yeah, we have 5 hangars here. One of them is actually, we allow NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, the hurricane hunters, they operate out of one of those hangars. Another one of our hangars is used by the C-37s, which is a Gulfstream 5 aircraft that's used to ferry the combatant commanders all over the world and to Washington, D.C. frequently.
Yeah.
So there's really 3 hangars that we use mostly for the KC-135. And if we get a new tanker come in, we're obviously going to need more capability.
And let's hope that happens for sure. Of course, a little political pressure. We've talked about that here in the show. The mayor is going to do everything he can to see that we get them, because we want to see the longevity of the base, of course, staying here. And once they come on, it means you're going to be here for a long, long time.
Yes, well, and we like to see the airplane too. We're excited that we finally getting it. It's been a long time coming, so we're glad that.
How will that one be different than this one? Because we saw, the tube and all of that kind of thing. How will it be different from these old, well, basically, as you said, Boeing 707s?
Well, it's just a newer airplane. It's going to be, from a commercial derivative that so parts availability that'll be a lot easier. It'll also have more capacity for carrying cargo and things like that, because it'll be a wide-body aircraft. So just a lot more capability.
Well,
Colonel Roeper, we appreciate you coming on with us. This has been fascinating. I hope your dad gets a chance to watch this.
Oh, yeah.
To see his son under the lights and doing something that he doesn't normally do.
He would get a kick out of
He
that.
would, but I know he's appreciating your service just like we are. So thanks so much for being a part of MacDill and a part of our great
Well,
city.
thank you, and thanks for all your support.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Colonel.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Mayor's Hour. I am here with my friend Jack Harris, and we are with another one of the colonels that is an integral part of making this base work. He is Colonel Don Barnes, and he is the Mission Support Commander. He also works for Colonel Rishu, and he is the guy that makes the trains run on time out here. If anybody was truly the mayor of MacDill Air Force Base, it would be this guy, because he's the one that deals with housing and all kinds of other things that affect the quality of life. Welcome to the Mayor's Hour, Colonel.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for letting me join you all.
Yeah, that's a good analogy too. Like you say, we were talking about Colonel Rishu being like the mayor of MacDill because he is over the wing and all of that stuff. But you're the guy that's in charge of the kind of stuff that he has to do, make sure everybody's happy and make sure everybody's contented and that kind of thing.
That's it. I kind of consider it, he calls me the mayor, I call it the city manager or the city planner.
Another good metaphor, I guess, something like that. But what size, you talk about the city comparison, what size city would this be that you're in charge of?
If you include our whole population, it's probably about 100,000 folks during the summer time frame, and it swells to about 150,000 as a population that we take care of during the winter time frame as we get a lot of our retirees that come in from up north.
It'd be about like Clearwater. I mean,
Right.
you're talking nearly 100,000 permanent. And
Exactly, it's very comparable. We have about 14,000 military and civilians that work here on the installation. We have about 46,000 retirees that are in the local area, and then we have dependents and family members that are also a part of that. And when we talk about even our retiree population of 46,000, that's the retired member. If you add their family members, their spouses or significant others, you're talking about another 65,000 individuals. So it runs about 100,000.
And those are the people we have talked about repeatedly that have retired here, that love our Tampa Bay area, love it as much as we do apparently, and have decided to make a home here. And of course, they have the added advantage of being able to come on to MacDill Air Force Base and go to the BX and the commissary and
Absolutely.
the Class 6 store and all those other good things.
You betcha. We provide all the services that we would provide for any military member or their family member. We provide for our retiree population here, and that's everything from parks and recreation. We have 2 18-hole golf courses. We have swimming pools, bowling centers, 5 different restaurants, a skeet range. We have a boating operation and beaches. So we have really the whole gamut of what we can offer as far as from recreational activities. One of our biggest, I think, is we have 500 family campgrounds. We have a family campground that you can put 500 RVs that you can park here. And during the winter time frame, we have a lot of our retired population and our dependents who actually come down in these RVs in the November through April time frame. And they come down here and live and play here at MacDill.
You have, by the way, a lot of people come on base from time to time, and I know one of the great events that we've had in the past, and it had to be foregone here, I think, the past year, and Mayor, you and I were talking about this, is the MacDill Air Show.
Airfest, absolutely.
The Airfest.
I think that's going to be a good news story for the city. We traditionally had that in the spring time frame. We always, one of the capstone events is we either get the Thunderbirds or we get the Blue Angels to come in as one of the highlight shows. This year we couldn't get them in the spring time frame, in the April-May time frame. So now we're going to look at November, which we actually think is going to be better for the city because, number one, the climate's a little bit better, it'll be cooler,
it'll be nicer
less of an opportunity for rain because the last several years that we've hosted that event here, at least one, if not both of the days have been rained out. So we're expecting to have, we normally draw 100 to 140,000 different 100 to 140,000 people to come out attendance at the show. And so what we'd really like to do is do that for 2 days and see if we couldn't bump that up to around 200,000 folks.
Yeah, I think in the old days it was a couple of days.
Close to half a million.
Yeah.
During the heyday.
Absolutely.
Certainly was.
Well, we'd like to get it back to that. We just think it would be a win-win.
And are you in charge of, is security here part of your bailiwick?
Absolutely. If you looked at it across the range, security, fire department, in fact, the primary mission, the first mission that I have when I get up in the morning, and the thing that really keeps me up at night, is the security side of things. Because, you know, if the base isn't secure, then CENTCOM and SOCOM, our two big warfighting combatant commands, can't do their job if they're not secure. So it's up to me to make sure that the folks who come onto this installation are here for the right reasons, and make sure that the base is secure. And here it's a little bit unique because we not only have to secure 7 miles of land, but I also have to secure 7.2 miles of coastline. So one of the unique things that our police force or our security forces has to do is we have to patrol the water. So we have one of the Air Force's only 24-hour, 7-day-a-week Navy.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a chance to get out with them this morning, and they really are an impressive group. Now, they're keeping me from all my good snook fishing. But I would prefer that the base be safe. But the snook are hiding inside those canals, laughing at me.
Smart snook.
Smart snook, because they can read the signs that says "Do not enter." You know.
And I'm convinced there's great fishing that's out there. And I know that the boss, the wing commander, Colonel Rishu, really wants to open that up at least for a period of time, whether it's a couple of days or several days, where we can get folks out there just to make sure that we catch those elusive snook that are hiding in there.
You got to keep the population down, so you need us.
That's it. Absolutely.
Keep the snook from
Absolutely.
overrunning the waters
We
out
want to
here.
maintain the balance.
But you know, going back to that security thing, when you think about it, the bad guys would love to do something nasty here because this is where operations emanate for everything that's happening in Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya and perhaps now even Yemen or wherever the latest the latest battlefront is.
Sure. Yeah, it's an ongoing issue, and we take it very seriously. It is the primary mission for our security forces. We have just under 500 defenders who are here. And of course, we keep them on patrol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have obviously a layered defense system that utilizes technology, and it utilizes eagle eyes, and it utilizes manpower to make sure that we are being as effective as possible as far as defending the base.
And I'm assuming you're also the person in charge of seeing that construction goes off as scheduled, and there's an awful lot of that being done here. I mean, we're talking in 7 figures.
Absolutely. If you look at our numbers, over about a 6-year period, 3 years prior to today and 3 years looking into the future, if you look at that 6-year period of time, we're going to do a little over $600 million in construction here.
Make that 9 figures.
That's right. We're very close. We're very close, and we're really proud of what we've been able to do. We came out of a period where we thought that the base was going to be realigned and closed back in 1994. So I think there was a hesitancy to put money into MacDill. But since that time, once we decided that we were going to put a full weight of effort here, we have had a robust construction program to make sure that we are taking care of all of the men and women that live and work here at MacDill Air Force Base. And also since that time, we've had such tremendous mission growth. When you look at Central Command, which is really the key combatant command that's processing the war in Afghanistan and all of the operations that are taking place in Iraq and in Southwest Asia, all of that robust infrastructure, all of those robust missions have required a significant increase in infrastructure, and that's what you're seeing.
Well, Colonel, you are retiring soon.
That's true.
And the military is going to be sad to lose you, but we are going to be able to keep you in a different capacity for an organization that is one of Jack and I's favorite groups of folks. because you're going to be becoming the executive director of Ye Mystic Crew of Gasparilla.
That's correct.
And so you will be dealing with a whole nother set of issues.
I am, and I
For
understand that there are probably some general officer, flag officer equivalents that I will be dealing with in that organization, just like I do here. So I'm really looking forward to the transition. And I have to tell you, I heard Colonel Rishu talk about it earlier, the great community support that we get here, and that's the reason I'm staying, is that my wife and I fell in love with this community, and we are just so tickled to death to be a part of it. And I'm not surprised that we have such a significant retiree population, because you all really, really do take care of us.
Well, we're excited to keep you in the community. We're excited to have you as part of Gasparilla. It truly is one of Tampa's best events. I'm going to give everyone who calls me to complain your number from now on. And so,
A lot of Bay Shore residents will be calling.
welcome to the NFL, Colonel.
Fantastic. Operators are standing by.
But we're excited, and good luck in the new career.
Thank you
And
so
thanks for
very
the
much.
service.
Thank you
Yeah.
for your time.
Congratulations,
My
and we'll
pleasure.
be dealing with you a lot too at Clear Channel and places like that.
That sounds great. Let me know how we can help.
That's great, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and Jack, this was a great start to a great partnership. I'm excited, and I'm very, very thankful that you agreed to do this.
Oh, I am so appreciative you asked me to do it again, to be a part of the Mayor's Hour. And as you said, what a place to start at MacDill Air Force Base, to remind people what an enormous contributor to our economy, to our social life, to everything here in the Tampa Bay area. And we seem to sort of forget about it. It's something that's kind of in the background. And again, I know I've said it again and again, but 15 to 20 Super Bowls every year right here as far as the economic impact. And you can't even, I mean, you look at the guys here. I'm guessing out of our 3 guests, we know one is retiring here, and another said he wants to retire here after he goes somewhere else. And I'm guessing we'll get 3.
We could very well, and
Out of
there's
the
a lot of
bunch.
talent. I mean, if you walk around this space and see some of these young men and women doing some of the jobs that they are doing, it is absolutely astounding to me.
You know, and you think back now, imagine what would have happened when you were with the Mayor Sandy Friedman administration and the crisis hit. It really was a major, major crisis back then. And I remember Sam Gibbons coming to the fore, people like Al Austin, and
Bill
anybody
Young.
that had any political influence came to bat here, because it looked very much like we were going to lose this. Imagine, I mean, it would have been a real estate bonanza down here, people trying to build condos all the way around the point or whatever, but what it would be like without MacDill Air Force Base, you can't even imagine that now.
No, and our job is to make sure not only that we keep it, but that we grow it.
Yep.
Whether it's with more tankers, whether it's looking at relocating additional commands. This is a huge asset for us. We got to make sure it succeeds. We got to celebrate their accomplishments, and following this show, there's going to be some footage of a memorial service that took place here just recently, where we honored those that have paid the ultimate price, because we can't ever forget that they just don't fly planes, that some of these young men and women don't come back.
Oh, absolutely. We have all too many that are brought here to MacDill Air Force Base, and then the final procession goes up Bayshore Boulevard and to different communities around here. And these are the guys that, as you say, have given the full measure.
Yep.
But
Well, thank you for joining us on this, the first Mayor's Hour of my administration. I'm glad that we picked MacDill Air Force Base as the starting point. I couldn't think of anything more important to this community, but more importantly to this country, than what takes place here at this base. The young men and women that we see in our community every day wearing the camouflage, take an opportunity to say thank you to them.
oh, that's a good idea.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for believing in this great country. But more importantly, thank you for sacrificing your lives so that we may live ours. Freedom is not free. So take a chance. Thank a soldier, an airman, a Marine, a coastie, a sailor. Take care. We'll see you at the next Mayor's Hours.